Hi there, guys. I'm Claude.
And I'm Clinton, and we're the lamest offenders.
On today's We've Got Issues, I'm doing a SpiderMan review, go figure, and Clinton is doing Savage Avengers and a Black Widow #1 today. Yeah. So let's get into it. Welcome back, guys. So let's just hop into it and talk about my first comic for this week. It's called Amazing Spider-Man Going Big. So it has 3 short stories from really prolific Spider-Man writers and some artists there. So the first one was actually my favorite one, and it was written by Jerry Conway. If you're not familiar with him, he actually co-wrote the entire Death of Gwen Stacy way back when. One of probably, I think, the best Spider-Man storyline in the entire comic line. Yeah. And then he was also the co-creator of The Punisher. So with this story, obviously it's pretty short, but Mary Jane's cousin is basically missing. So Mary Jane already knows he's Spider-Man, so she's like, can you look into it? So her cousin is a reporter, and she's investigating human trafficking, and she gets kidnapped. So while Spider-Man is investigating, he comes upon the Coyote, who is a newer Daredevil villain. He was introduced in 2012. Doesn't look like a coyote at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah, kind of looked like a symbiote. I was like, is this absolute Carnage tie-in? But anyway, his powers are similar to the Spot, so you'll see whenever he tries to punch Spider-Man, his hands will go through holes, and then it hit him across like wherever he's fighting.
Yeah, very Looney Tunes character.
Yeah, and it's drawn by Mark Bagley, so the art's fantastic because he's, he drew a lot of the original Carnage storyline back in the 90s, and he also did Ultimate Spider-Man. And all the while, because it's a Jerry Conway book, you of course have Punisher there. Yeah. So human trafficking, he's trying to end it as well. So you see him, it's through the lens of his sniper rifle scope, and he's trying to snipe the Coyote, but Spider-Man keeps getting, pushed and pulled through all these holes, and you just see cuss words while he's like aiming down the scope. It's all censored and everything, but it's just awesome. Yeah. So that was the first story. It was, no pun intended, it was pretty amazing. Yeah. The second story, not so much. It was written by Ralph Macchio. Not
like Karate Kid?
No, unfortunately not. But he also did some Spider-Man stories. He used to be an editor at Marvel way back when. That one, the less I talk about, probably the better. Okay. It's about 2 pages long. It's Spider-Man fighting a disgruntled Oscorp employee in a Transformer. So, and it's 2 pages, so like I said, it's not great.
Is it like 8 panels a page on this thing, or is it just...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's even room for flashback, too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
For the third and final story in this little collection of 90 Spider-Man's, callback stories. It's written by Eric Larson, and it's also drawn by him. So his art style isn't one of my favorite artists ever as Spider-Man. It's not my cup of tea. But he also really, like, way back when in the 90s, he took over after Todd McFarlane left. Okay. So he really gave Venom a different look that you know now from, how he looks in the comics currently with the huge teeth, the tongue, some green, like, spit.
Kind of more reptilian, I guess.
Right. Yeah, and he writes a really good Spider-Man where he's witty, really corny jokes. But basically, that's his story. They really hyped that one up, and it wasn't good. So really, it's a $4.99 comic. The first one is worth it to me, even though it's a little bit shorter. It's just historic, and it's great. So if you're a big Spider-Man fan, I say definitely pick this up. Cool. And you might like the other 2 stories. It just wasn't for me.
One for you. Okay, cool. Well, Ace, for my first comic, I reviewed Savage Avengers #5. It kind of I was a little bittersweet on this one because I thought it was a mini-series and #5 was going to be the last one. Right. I come to find out this is going to be an ongoing series now for the show, and
pulled a sneaky on
and I'm really happy about that. So this one I felt could have wrapped up this story pretty well, but it didn't. It left a lot of threads hanging, which I didn't feel like this was needed to do that. But all in all, I still really like this book a lot. It's an 80s action movie. It's fun. I mean, they're just all stoic heroes. They just do their job. They beat the bad guy, or they try to beat the bad guy. Spoilers.
There's no underlining political message.
No, it's just a to B storyline, and it actually
sometimes we need that.
Yeah, and honestly had one of the better character moments for Punisher I've ever seen. Like I mean, I've read a few Punishers, but I'm not like an aficionado of him. But yeah, like I think it was issue 3. It was pretty heavy, and it's just a good story. Like the art is good. It's not great, but it's good. It's very good. I like it. The writing's really great. I love Conan. Like this kind of introduced me to Conan, and I'm in love with this character
on
now.
board now.
I love it. Like Crom, I love it. It's just great. But I strongly recommend this series. Issue 5 was a bit of a letdown, but yeah, I say pick this up. Like it'll be a trade soon. The first 5 issues, I'm sure. Pick it up, check it out. It's great. Punisher and Conan kind of form a friendship through it, which is
that's pretty funny,
pretty amazing. And I
teach Conan how to use guns.
Yeah, exactly. Conan also said one of my favorite parts of issue 5. He also wanted he's going to try incredibly hard to find a pair of sneaky knives like Wolverine has. He called them sneak knives. So yeah, I love it.
That's pretty hilarious.
It's great. Like just get it. it's fantastic.
My second comic for this week was a Absolute Carnage tie-in called Absolute Carnage Symbiote Spider-Man #1. It's a one-shot. And they do already have a Symbiote Spider-Man like ongoing series, which I don't recommend. There's no point to it. But this one ties into the really good event. Yeah. And it's basically this guy back in the 80s when Spider-Man loses his symbiote with the help of Reed Richards at the Baxter Building. The symbiote's basically like he's out in the wild in the streets of New York, and he attaches it attaches on to a tourist from, I believe it's Indiana. Okay. And he's trying to use this guy to web swing back to Peter Parker's apartment so he can attach himself again. Sure. Okay. And that took place in the 80s. You see the original art from it, which is really crazy. Yeah. So then it fast forwards to, so the symbiote, obviously, he was only on this guy for maybe like 20 minutes. Yeah. But after that entire event, like his life just kind of goes downhill. And now it fast forwards to current day, and he's got long hair. He's in prison. He's decrepit. His life went to crap, basically. And I can't spoil too much of it because it's so good. Yeah, it's so depressing. There's only one shot of Spider-Man, and that's him like swinging, and that's it. He's not even in the comic. He doesn't say anything at all. But it is a tie-in to Absolute Carnage. So if you're checked out our other reviews, the whole thing about Absolute Carnage is trying to find previous, wearers of symbiotes to kill them, because when you have a symbiote on you, you still have a trace of it, and he's trying to collect it by killing all the previous wearers, so he could free this guy called Null, which is the goddess symbiote who created the symbiotes, because he's kind of entrapped. So I don't know how that's going to go down, but that's currently where the storyline is with Absolute Carnage. So as you can imagine, since it's a tie into that, Carnage makes an appearance, and it's good. Cool. So yeah, I mean, $4.99 is a little bit steep, but it's a little bit of a longer comic, so it builds up. Oh, okay. And it's a great story. So if you want to be depressed, go ahead and check this one out.
And that's what I like about these events, though, is that they expand on characters and their lore. Like I like that. Right. I don't want the same thing happening all the time. Right. What's the point? Yeah. So yeah,
it's just interesting too, because Carnage is like Cletus Cassidy, he's been dead like 2 or 3 times. Oh. But who hasn't in comics?
Exactly. Right? Yeah. Just 2 or 3 times.
Maybe 4.
Oh, okay.
Who knows?
Speaking of coming back from the dead, Web of Black Widow #1 premiered this past week, Wednesday as well. Yeah.
Too soon.
And it was okay. It didn't really knock my socks off. I know what I'm getting with Natasha, and it was a very much. It starts off where she is in a charity gala event, and she runs into Tony Stark. And I think that was part of my problem with this, is that it relied so much on Tony Stark to kind of advance the story a little bit. it delved into her background, starting with the school, like the training school that she had. It starts off with the ballerinas, I guess.
Yeah.
And it starts off with, it goes into that a little bit, but not enough. And I
Okay.
know they're going to piece that out throughout,
Right.
which I understand that. But Natasha is an interesting character. I don't think she needs this supporting cast all the time. And
Let her do her own thing.
yeah, because I mean, you see Tony Stark in the beginning, and then you see him in the Iron Man suit the last few pages. It's like, where's Natasha in this?
Right.
Like, it's cool that they're bringing in these characters, but she had her own series a few years ago, and it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
And I don't remember there being that many.
No.
It wasn't like
Maybe one?
a few times, yeah, but nothing like this. Like
Yeah.
already, like okay. And then the cover for the next issue has Daredevil and the Winter Soldier on it, and they're going to explore Black Widow and Winter Soldier's relationship. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but did Daredevil need to be in this too?
Yeah.
Like, are we just going to get Black Widow?
Her love triangle?
Yeah, Black Widow. Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Okay.
Black Widow relationships past.
Yeah, what's going to be issue 3? Her and Thanos and, you know, like the Black Order. Like, just bring them all in. Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay. Like, I think the thing with this one particular for me was that Invisible Woman took her out of her element. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoy that. That was really cool. Like, Invisible Woman as a spy, that's awesome. Like, that makes total sense. And it would make sense that Black Widow would show up in that.
Right.
So I just don't really. And maybe it'll go somewhere where I didn't expect it, but I was just a little disappointed with this one. I didn't really care for it.
So do you recommend it?
No, not really.
Well, that's pretty much all the comic book reviews we have this week. If you guys haven't had a chance, please check out our House of X number 4. It's we had to dedicate its own video to that.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah, this would have been like 30 minutes long.
Oh yeah, it would have been impossible. Yeah. But that video really focuses on the spoilers too. But the first couple minutes is just a non-spoiler review.
Yeah.
So
yeah, check that out, please. We're pretty proud of that one.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Stay lame.
Bye.
Look at my
Can I reference you as Ace Ventura? Can I do that?